Emily, and this is another episode of 108 Stitches, episode 14, I believe. Wow, I can't believe it has been 14 episodes. Thank you so much for joining today. If you are new, 108 Stitches, this is mostly a knitting video podcast, so I talk a lot about the projects that I'm working on. Sometimes you'll get a little bit of other crafts in there as well. I talk a tad about sewing. Really, that's it, not really much else. And then I also sometimes talk a little bit about baseball, so you may get a little bit of baseball content as well. Hence the name 108 Stitches, which is the number of stitches in a baseball. That's why I called it that. It turns out I think there are like some other things called 108 Stitches as well, like a book maybe, and I don't know. I think maybe I should have gone with something a little bit more unique, but that's okay. I like it. I think it fits perfectly for this. Yeah, and I often forget to mention this at the beginning of the episode, but the reason that it's called 108 Stitches and why I talk about baseball, I grew up like a big baseball fan, and I currently work as a baseball analyst for the Seattle Mariners, so I am here in Seattle. It may seem a little bit brighter. It's actually, it's Saturday afternoon. Today is February 13th, but just over here, we have three large windows in our living room, and it is snowing. It is white. This whole like window is just huge, big snowflakes falling from the sky. It has been snowing since yesterday. And we have gotten now, I think, almost 10 inches of snow, which is quite a lot for the Seattle area. So we haven't done a ton outside in the snow. We went to the grocery store yesterday to make sure that we were stocked up for what may be a few days of just kind of being holed up. Not that different from our normal lives in quarantine from the pandemic, but we did want to make sure that we had everything we needed, since we were not going to probably be able to drive. And I'm glad that I'm not trying to drive right now. Our cars are both like parked on the street with tons of snow on top of them. So anyway, lengthy intro today, but yes, my name is Emily. I live in Seattle, where it is very snowy right now. Today is February 13th, so tomorrow is Valentine's Day, and I live here with my husband Nafis and our puppy Norman, who's a Boston Terrier who sometimes makes an appearance. He's actually I'm looking at him now, he's just snuggled up in his bed. It's pretty chilly, so he's been having a cozy, cuddly type of day. So anyway, yeah, that's it. That's me. I guess sometimes I will mention here where you can find me if you're interested in doing that. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as @MWeKurt, and I will put those down in the description box, along with, as always, all the information about the stuff that I talk about. So yeah, it has been 2 weeks since my last episode, and actually, you know, sometimes I have 2-week breaks between episodes. Sometimes I'll do one every week. It just kind of depends on like how much I've been knitting. And this one was really interesting. I didn't record last week, not because I didn't have enough to talk about, because I think I did. Like I had done enough knitting that I like could have filmed an episode with some chatter about my projects, but I actually just like didn't want to stop knitting to record an episode. I was just really invested in the work, like the projects I was working on, and so I didn't stop to record. So I'm excited to be back with you all this weekend to update you on all the stuff that I finished over the last couple weeks and the stuff that I've got going now. I feel like I've got quite a bit of progress to show you all. So a couple finished objects and some works in progress. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. The first finished object I have to share with you is, I showed this as a work in progress in the last episode. Sorry, the color is actually, I hope maybe I can like correct this, but the color is getting blown out a ton. And I think it's just because all of this light coming from the snow and the windows. But this is my, I've been calling these my honeymoon hats. I have a yellow one as well that I knit for myself, and this red one I knit for my husband in office. And this was just, I kind of combined a couple of patterns. I did the crown decreases from the Pearl Soho classic, they're like classic cuffed hat, I think is what it's called. But I just did like a 1x1 rib beanie. It's tall enough that you can fold over the brim. You may not even be able to see this because of how dark it is. I don't know if you can see at all. Maybe if I put it over in the light, you can see a little bit. But yeah, so this is just a ribbed hat. It has been getting quite a bit of use because it's been really cold here. So Nofis has been wearing this, and I have my yellow one, and so we have been matching, which I really like. The yarn that I used for this is Alafosslopi, which is 100% Icelandic wool, and I actually picked up this yarn as well as the yellow yarn and some other yarn I'll talk about later in the episode in Iceland when Nofis and I went on our honeymoon that was in 2018. So a few years ago now. But I'm finally using it, and I'm really excited that we have matching hats that kind of commemorate that time. So that is my first finished object. I'm very happy with that. Pretty simple, but it was a very quick knit. I think this one took me like 2 days. Would have taken less if I worked on it the whole day. Like, I mean, only a few hours of work in this. So there's that one. And then my second finished object, I really couldn't remember if I showed these last time or not. I think I had one finished. And maybe I showed them maybe 2 episodes ago, but I finished my Christmas Eve cast-on socks, and I don't have blockers upstairs. I should have grabbed some, but they were blocked recently, so they look pretty nice. But so this was my Christmas Eve cast-on. I cast these on I guess a month and a half ago, Christmas Eve of 2020, and this yarn is a Woolberry Fiber Co. Their sock set, which I believe is a merino nylon. I don't remember if it's 75-25 or 85-15, but yeah, a merino nylon, and this is the North Pole sock set colorway. So I think like this main color is called something else if you get just the skein without like the sock set without the red, but this sock set is called North Pole, and I love it. And I think I talked on the podcast about my tumult trying to acquire this yarn, but I got it. I couldn't love it more. I knit just like a basic 3x1 rib sock and a heel flap and gusset. I've worn these like only once, and they were great. These I think are probably the best fitting socks that I have knit for myself. I went all the way down to 52 stitches, which I think was an indicator to me that I needed to size down on a needle and do more stitches than that. So I actually got a new sock needle. So my next pair, I will probably use a smaller needle and more stitches. But anyway, these are, yeah, my Christmas Eve cast-on socks. And then my final finished object, you may have noticed I am wearing it. This is my Plover cardigan, and I'm so sad that the light is so bright that it's kind of getting blown out, but maybe, I don't know, I don't know if there's a way I can point the camera maybe this way. Will that make it better? And I can come stand here. You can see it a little bit. Yeah, so this is the Plover cardigan, which is a pattern by Jacqueline Cieslak. And I've been working on this. I cast it on, gosh, I don't even remember when. It must have been like October, November of 2020. And then I kind of put it on pause because I had a couple other sweaters. I had like a test knit, and then I was working on Novice's sweater that I finished just like over a month ago. And yeah, so I picked this one back up at the beginning of the year and I finished it. Yeah, the color is just not great here, but hopefully you can see. I also have some photos that I took some finished object photos and put those up on Instagram, so hopefully you can see those. But yeah, so this is the Plover cardigan. I knit the second size, and I was actually very worried that it was going to be too small until I blocked it. And so this is in a half brioche stitch, and it blocked out beautifully. It actually blocked out so much that the sleeves were too long, and I ended up, after blocking, I ripped back like 3 or 4 inches on each of the sleeves and redid the bind off because I didn't want the sleeves to be too long. Because the sleeves, like Novice mentioned to me that I could just kind of cuff the sleeves, and that's normally what I would have done, is I would have just like cuffed the sleeves. But they have this nice little, like a slight balloon to them, and I really didn't want to cuff them. I wanted them to just lay nicely, so I pulled it back, and I also actually pulled out the bind off. So there's, I don't know if you can tell, I guess I can talk about my modifications as well. I modified this pattern. Let me maybe turn this back. So I modified this pattern in a couple ways. One was just that I added a couple inches to the length because I wanted it to sit kind of like right at my hip. And I think it does. It's exactly the length that I wanted. But I also changed, you probably won't be able to see this because it's too dark, but there's like a neckband all the way around the sweater. And the pattern calls for it to be knit in stockinette, and I knit it in twisted rib instead. Because I just really liked the look of it. I didn't want it to curl at all. So yeah, I did twisted rib all the way around the outside. And so there's this band that's all the way around the like outside of the sweater. So like around your neck, and like around the sides, and then around the bottom. And I bound off the bottom part way too tight. And so I couldn't even button it. Like I could not get the sweater like around my hips. It was just way too tight. So after I had blocked it and everything, I was a little bit unhappy. It was just like too tight. And then the sleeves were too long. And I decided I was just going to take a day and I was going to make the modifications that I needed to. Not modifications. I was going to just like fix it. Take the time to fix it so that I would be happy with it. And I'm really glad that I did. So I shortened the sleeves and I ripped out the bind off on the bottom and I redid it. And I think it turned out really good. So yeah, this is my finished Plover. Oh, I forgot to say, I should have said this earlier, but the yarn I used is Grenouille, which, if you are new here, is my favorite dyer by a lot. I love Grenouille, but I used her 85-15 sock base, so 85% merino, 15% nylon, which is honestly, it just feels luxurious. Like it is so like silky and squishy, and it feels amazing. But I used that fingering weight base in the Nacht Musik colorway, which is this gorgeous dark teal, which does not photograph or appear on camera very well, but in real life is absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, I think that's it on my Plover and my finished objects. So yeah, if you're interested in seeing more of this, you can check out the photos on my Instagram. And yeah, I'm really excited about this sweater. So anyway, that's the stuff I finished. And then I have some works in progress. So most of my time since finishing the Plover, so I actually finished the Plover just about a week ago. I finished it last Saturday, so it's been a week. And that day, or maybe it was Sunday, I cast on a new sweater. I cast on the Vega jacket, and the designer's name, I know I'm going to say it wrong, and I'm so sorry, Kajsa Vuorela, maybe? And It is just a gorgeous, oh, did I say the name of the pattern? I'm knitting the Vega jacket. So I cast it on last Saturday, and I have already made a ton of progress, but here it is. And this was, so one of my goals this year was to try a new technique, and I wanted to try out Intarsia color work, and I did. So this is one of the shoulder panels. You can see. Let me try to hold this so that you can see it well. But yeah, this is just gorgeous. I love this color work. So this is Intarsia, and all Intarsia is, it's not super different from your normal stranded color work, but for Intarsia, you have one color that kind of doesn't go all the way across the row. So normally when you knit stranded color work, when you have like two colors that you're working on, you're kind of passing them back and forth. You have like white and gray, and you do like a couple stitches white, a couple stitches gray, you go back and forth all the way across the row. For Intarsia, one of the colors is like self-contained in smaller areas. And so you leave the yarn there, and you don't carry it all the way across. So like this is the back of the sweater, and you don't carry the white yarn all the way across the back. You just leave it there. And then the way that you deal with that is whenever you like pick up that color to knit on the next row, you'll just kind of drop it down to the next row, and you twist it around the gray yarn. Like you twist the white yarn around the gray yarn so that it doesn't leave like these holes. Anyway, it just kind of like sticks everything together. So this was my first time trying it. I was really nervous, but it turns out it's not that different from normal color work. And I think it turned out really well. And I just think that these shoulder panels are gorgeous. I don't know, I love them. This yarn, so yeah, so this is the Vega jacket. I'm knitting the second size, and I'm using the yarn that she uses as well in the pattern. This is Alafosslopi, so the same yarn actually that I used for those hats, the red and yellow hats. I actually got a couple skeins of this, so I think I got 2 skeins of the gray and 1 skein of the white when I was in Iceland for my honeymoon. And then I needed more gray to do the sweater, so my mom bought me a couple more skeins of the gray for Christmas so I could finish this sweater so I can make it. And yeah, this is all the work I've done in about a week. It's going so fast. I mean, it's like Aran weight yarn, so it goes so quick, but yeah, here it is, and I love it. I'm about to do, so it's kind of a cropped sweater. It's not like super long, but I think it'll hit about the same length as this one. And I'm about to do the ribbing for the bottom of the sweater. I have like one more row, I think, and then I'm gonna do the ribbing. And I love it. I'm really loving it. Highly recommend this pattern so far. I still have the sleeves, and then there's like a band, like a button band around on the sides. So I will need to do that, and then I will be done. So I think this one's going to be fast for me. I don't know. I don't want to set too aggressive of goals, but I do feel like I could finish this one in a couple weeks rather than this sweater took me closer to a month, a little over a month. But my goal for 2021 was to knit 8 sweaters, and I'm on the pace of about 1 a month. So I think I'll definitely make the 8. So yeah, this is Vega jacket. And then a little bit boring, less exciting. I often have just like a pair of socks on the needles stuck in my yarn bowl, but I almost always have just like either a vanilla sock, or I really like ribbed socks, so I'll just have like a 3x1 rib sock on my needles. And so I cast this on just because I wanted to have something easy to work on, like during knit nights, or like when Noctis and I are chatting or playing games or whatever. I always like to just have something in my hands. So I cast on a new 3x1 sock. This yarn is Grenouille again. This is their 75-25. So 75% merino, 25% nylon. It's a little bit more rough, I guess. It's not as like squishy and smooth as the other one, but I really like this one for socks. And it is in the Magpie colorway. So here's the sock. I don't know if you can see the color there. Very pretty. It's like a blue and black and gray, and like little bits of like brighter green as well. Here, I can show you all the cake. Gotta get that thumbnail photo, you know. But I think it's so pretty. And it's making this like really nice looking pair of socks. So, oops. So yeah, that's just something I've been, oh, I always mess up the focus when I do that. There we go. That's just something I have been knitting on a little bit. And then I also have a couple swatches to share with you all. So last weekend I knit a whole bunch of swatches. I used to never swatch, and now I love it. I don't know. So one of them was just the swatch for my Vega jacket. So I just have that, but a couple other swatches. So if you remember, I think it was maybe 1 or 2 episodes ago, I talked about how I got some yarn to make the vertical striped sweater by Petite Knit. And I was worried that the yarn I got was a little bluer than I was wanting. And I was thinking about maybe bleaching it, and I had asked for some advice, and a lot of you in the comments said, Emily, no, don't bleach it. And I listened. Thank you for telling me that. But I also got some advice to just go ahead and swatch with it and see how it goes. So I guess I can show you the yarns again if you're interested. Sorry, I'm leaning over so much, but right. So I got this fingering weight. This is like a sock base from Lichen and Lace in the Beach Glass colorway. And this is like Surrey alpaca and lace. This is Drops. I don't remember the colorway. I think it's like grayish green or something. Blue, gray, green, something like that. Anyway, this one was a little bit bluer than I was expecting. You can actually see the color. It looks a little bluer on camera than it is in real life. It's like a little bit greener, grayer in real life. But anyway, you can tell that this is like lighter. And so I wanted it to be more like this color. I wanted this whole sweater to be a little bit more like that. So I decided that I would swatch it. Some of you had suggested that I swatch and see if maybe like this color ended up being really dominant, and then I don't need to worry about like bleaching or anything to make this color lighter. So I did. I swatched, and I think it just turned out beautiful. I love the way that this turned out. I don't know if you can see. I guess you really only need to see the color, but I think it turned out really great. It's pretty light. I would say the Surrey was definitely dominant. You can see these colors match really well, and it definitely looks lighter than this one. And I'm really, really happy with it. So I'm definitely not going to be bleaching or over dyeing or anything this yarn. I'm just going to use it as I planned, and I think this is going to turn out exactly the way I wanted it to. I actually like there are some little darker parts in here, like in the swatch. You can see the yarn sometimes, like here. You can see it gets a little bit darker, and I really like the way that that looks. I think it looks really nice. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I did that swatch, and then the last swatch that I did, so I was wearing this, one of my very favorite shirts is this striped t-shirt. You guys may have seen me wear it. I don't think I've worn it on the podcast, but like on Instagram, I think I posted photos on my story or whatever wearing this shirt. It is someone actually, I think, messaged me on Instagram about it. But I love this shirt. I don't even remember where I got it, but it's a striped shirt, and every other stripe is navy. And then the other stripes are like kind of rainbowy. So there's like a red stripe, an orange stripe, a yellow stripe, and like 2 lighter blue stripes maybe. So I don't think it has green in it, but anyway, I should have just grabbed the shirt. But I had this idea. So I love this shirt and I love the colors, and I was looking at my stash yarn and I had some yarns that kind of, I don't know, gave me that same kind of vibe as the stripes in the shirt. So I collected them. I actually have one full skein left over from this sweater from my Plover. So I have this really dark teal color, which kind of, I think I'm going to use as the base. And then I have some leftover yarns from other projects that I want to use as like the rainbow stripes. And my plan is, here are the other colors, if you want to see. So here they are. This is not exactly the same colors as the shirt, but it's similar and it gives me like this similar vibe or whatever. So the plan is to knit like a tank. But I didn't have a pattern that I was really excited about, and I thought I can do this myself. So what I'm going to try to do, I've never done this before, but I knit a swatch just of the yarns that I had more of because I wanted to make sure not to run out. But I knit a swatch, it's just like plain stripes, to see like how I liked different numbers of rows for the stripes. Like down at the bottom there are like 2 rows every stripe, and then up at the top like every other, or like 2 of the dark color and 1 of the accent color. Anyway, I knit the swatch and I am going to, I think, try to knit the tank, just like use my body measurements and the swatch I knit and just knit it. Just decide what to do as I go. So like I'll probably start at the bottom and then knit like some ribbing for the bottom of the tank, and then knit up a tube and then do something. I don't know. I don't know exactly how it's going to turn out yet. So we'll see. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to like write down what I do. I mean, I don't know. I've never considered like writing a pattern or anything like that. So we'll see. If it turns out good and other people want to knit it, then maybe I will try to write it down. But mostly I just had an idea and I wanted to knit it for myself. So we're going to see how that turns out. But yeah, I have that swatch as well. And that I think is everything. I had one other swatch, but it's kind of a secret. So you all may see that later. And that's it. I think that's all of my current knitting works in progress. I didn't do any sewing over the last couple weeks. But I have plans. Maybe I should cut out some fabric this weekend. But yeah, that's all of the knitting stuff. I do have some acquisitions that I wanted to share with you all as well. Right, so I've had a few things arrive in the mail the last few weeks. The first thing that arrived was my Monet Impressionism Club. So I signed up for the Red Pansy. This is a new to me dyer. I have not knit with her yarn before. This is my first skein of her yarn. But she was doing a Monet Impressionism Club. And so I think this is a 3-month club. It started in January, and each month was based on a different Monet painting. And this one was the Houses of Parliament, was the picture that inspired it. And I think it's just beautiful. I love Monet. The Monet water lilies are some of the most breathtaking pieces of art I've ever seen in real life. So I was really excited to get this skein, and I think it's just beautiful. It is like this mostly blue, but has some like pale pink and like mauve-y colors in it, and some speckles, light speckling. And yeah, I'm not quite sure yet what I'm gonna do with it. I have some other Monet lovers in my life, so I was thinking about maybe knitting this into a pair of socks for one of them. But yeah, very, very pretty. Then another acquisition, I bought a sock set from another new dyer to me. This is a sock set from Sunday Fiber Company. It actually came in this very cute bag. So here's the bag. Really nice that it came with this bag. And here is the sock set that I got. So this is, again, the Stardust sock set, and the color is just so pretty. It is creamy. If it would focus, you could see maybe a little better. There we go. It's like creamy with like orangey and pink, and this like steely blue, and also little bits of yellow in there, like gold. I think maybe you can see here a little bit better. And I just love it, and I can't wait to knit something with it. I'm sure I will knit probably, come to me. Yeah, I'm sure I will knit a pair of socks with this, maybe just vanilla socks because the color is so pretty and I want it to shine, but I still feel kind of fuzzy. Am I still fuzzy? A little bit. Maybe that will help. Anyway, this, yes, very, oh, there we go. Yeah, very pretty, and I'm excited about it. And then the last acquisition I have is from Grenouille. So yeah, I love Grenouille and I love all of her colors, and Steph is just a magician, but she had a new color in her most recent update, this gorgeous dark green color. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's so pretty. It's called the Black Forest, and I love it, and so I got a skein of that in her new DK base. It's actually merino nylon. And then I also got a skein of my very favorite gray, Lamp Black. This is, yes, Lamp Black, a beautiful tonal gray, and I got a skein of DK in both of these. And my plan is to make another set of matching hats for myself and Memphis so that we can have another set of matching hats. So if anyone has recommendations for DK single skein hat patterns, let me know. I may drop like a prompt on Instagram stories or something to hear from you all, but I would love to know if you all have knit any DK weight hats. I like maybe something a little bit on the simpler side, like rib, something like that, but yeah. So I got that, and then I also got one skein of Lamp Black on sock. So this is the 75/25 merino nylon. Beautiful, Lamp Black, love it. I was originally planning to make Memphis a pair of socks out of this, but depending on how my striped tank goes, I may make another striped tank with this and some of my Advent minis. So it would be a full Grenouille tank. So we will see. But yeah, that is all of my acquisitions, and yeah, I guess life stuff and baseball stuff. I feel like I've already been talking for a while, so maybe I won't go super deep into any of this right now. I already talked about the snow a little bit. It is still snowing. It is so gorgeous. Maybe I should try to show you all. Can you see out there the snow? So pretty. Sorry for that detour, but let's get you back up there. Okay. Yeah, so snow is really pretty. I'm enjoying that. It's coming down. Still very heavy. I can't believe we're still getting more snow. And then, so yeah, we're just kind of cuddled up at home. The other thing that we have going on this weekend, I am doing a couple other sourdough recipes. So I think a couple weeks ago I had shared I made another attempt at a sourdough loaf, and then I also did these like sourdough enriched cruffins, which is like a cross between a croissant and a muffin, and those turned out amazing. Seriously, so good. Worth an attempt. If you have some sourdough starter, I would recommend these cinnamon sugar cruffins. I think I linked the recipe in like a comment on one of my posts on Instagram, but if you are interested, let me know and I'm happy to share the recipe. So yummy. But this weekend, I'm attempting to make some sourdough buns. So we're making like sloppy joes tonight, and I'm trying to make some like hamburger buns for us to use with that. And I'm having trouble. It's a little cold in the house, and so the dough is not rising as much as I was hoping. But I have it in the oven right now. Oven's off, but just like with the light on. And have been keeping an eye on that. And then I'm also going to make some sourdough English muffins, and we are going to make tomorrow or Monday, since we have Monday off for President's Day, we are going to make eggs Benedict. So Nafis is going to do some poached eggs. Yeah, poached eggs. And we have some like avocado and bacon, and I'm going to make sourdough English muffins. So yeah, hopefully those turn out good. That should be fun. That's kind of what we got going on in my family book club. I don't know if I mentioned this last episode, but we started reading the Gregor the Overlander series, which is kind of like a young adult fantasy series. And I think I've read the whole series before. I think most of my family has read the whole series before when like my siblings and I were young. But we just I think we all kind of just had this nostalgia feeling that we wanted to read it again. And Nafis, my husband, and my sister's boyfriend, Jack, have not read it, and they're in our book club as well. So the two of them are kind of reading it for the first time while the rest of us are reading it again. But there's a lot that I didn't remember. But we're on the second book now. We're kind of flying through it. We're doing each book over like 2 weeks, which is pretty fast, I think, for us. But yeah, so we're on the second book now, and I'm really enjoying that. If you didn't see my Vlogmas videos, one of my very favorite things in life is when Nafis reads to me. So when he reads aloud to me while I'm knitting. Because with we read a lot on the Kindle, and sometimes I can read on the Kindle while I knit and just like tap to turn the pages. But especially with physical books, I have a lot of trouble like trying to hold the book up while I knit. It's just kind of, I don't know. So I've been doing more audiobooks, and I have really enjoyed that. But my very favorite is when Nafis reads to me, and he does voices for the characters, which is really fun. And then I also just love that we talk about the book as we're reading it, and I think we both just like understand what's going on better when we're kind of, you know, if anyone's confused about something, we can talk about it. And anyway, that's what we've been up to. We may do, I mean, we don't have huge plans for Valentine's Day or anything either, because we're just going to be at home. I had actually purchased an activity for us to do together, but I don't think it will arrive in time. Like just a kit of some kind. I will not say what it is because Nafis, I know, sometimes watches these videos. So, but yeah, so we won't have a ton planned. I'm planning to make chocolate lava cakes tomorrow night. So we'll have some chocolate lava cakes and maybe a glass of wine or something. And that will be nice. And yeah, maybe do some puzzling, play some games together. And yeah, I think that's really it. As far as baseball stuff goes, I mean, there have been some transactions. I don't have a ton to talk about right now. I guess I didn't really think about what would happen in the off season for a podcast that has a segment on baseball. I mean, I know I listen to baseball podcasts that run through the off season, and they're very original about what they talk about during the off season, and I'm just not that. I mean, this is mostly about knitting, so I think it's okay. I don't think anyone is here just for the baseball. If you are, I'm very sorry that I have really let you down with the content, but spring training is happening soon. Yeah, I think this will be the first time that I'm working with the Mariners, and I will not be down in Arizona at all for spring training, which is different, just because still COVID stuff, and I'm glad that I'm able to do my job remotely. So I will be here in Seattle, and we'll be on lots of calls and communicating with people that I need to that way, and I feel really good about that. But spring training is getting underway pretty soon here. And that's exciting, thinking about the baseball season starting soon. I miss baseball, and hopefully that'll give us a little bit more to talk about in the coming months. So anyway, yeah, not a ton there. And I think that's all I have. So again, if you want to find me elsewhere, you can see finished object photos of some of my projects, and you can find sourdough recipes that I have made, and also pictures of Norman, if you're interested. All of that fun content on my Instagram, which is at Emweekert, EMWEECURT, which will be on the screen and down, you know, everywhere. But that's all I have for today. So thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I hope you do lots of knitting and watch lots of baseball, and have a great week. Bye.